Zanondani, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are going to be talking about canonicity. Now, you may be asking yourselves, why are you talking about this? You have been someone who has said that something is canon, blah blah blah, lots of other stuff. Why do you need to talk about this? And I think that the big reason why I wanted to bring this up is because in my video about Dr. Stone reboot Byakuya, someone went onto that video and said, no, it is not considered canon. It says right at the beginning that this is a what if of what could have happened and all of this stuff. And this, obviously that comment came a while ago, but I didn't really think too much about it until recently, and I decided I wanted to make a quick little video to actually discuss canonicity and why you really can't count on if someone actually created this story just because it was created by someone different, or because it was stated that it was non-canonical. At some point, that does not necessarily mean that it will not remain non-canonical forever. What exactly do I mean? Canonicity changes, and it is a really hard topic to actually discuss. I think the best way to look at it is to actually look at the Star Wars series and to discuss how exactly the canon for the Star Wars universe has changed over the years. First off, there are many books that have been written for Star Wars, and many of these are considered in the legacy canon. And so are many, many games. And that is kind of interesting. But basically, the only 100% this is canonical is stuff that was specifically made by Lucas or was made by Disney when the transfer happened. And even then, things are up for debate in a lot of those situations, especially stuff made by Lucas. And you have to be careful with what you're saying is canonical or non-canonical, because every single Star Wars fan has their own beliefs on it. And I think that it was kind of interesting because the way that Lucas didn't handle it at all, basically his decision when this whole thing happened was anything that someone writes for Star Wars is considered canonical unless he specifically has disproven it in some other universe, in some story. And that is his stance on it. And as such, many things that are that draw a lot of Star Wars fans to the series, they are considered canonical. The old Star Wars games, so Star Wars: The Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic, as well as Force Unleashed and its sequel, those were considered canonical up until the Disney transfer. Those 4 games were considered canonical, as well as most books, most of the Legends books. The only ones that weren't were ones that specifically were retracted because the fact that Lucas said something that disproved the entire thing. And very few of these books actually had that, with most of these books staying pretty far away from the events of the movies. Maybe they were in a little area between the two, between a movie or something. So, for example, I think there's a lot that were actually put between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Just, there's so much time in between those areas that a lot of books actually exist within that little area. And same thing goes for a lot of creations that came about in between Return of the Jedi and the events of the new movies. Same thing goes between the original New Hope and the prequel trilogy. So many of these things were considered canonical because there really wasn't any reason to not consider them to be canonical. And many fans love these stories. In fact, I have a few friends that are so obsessed with them that they consider those to be far more canonical than some of the movies. So you have to be really careful with what you say is canonical or non-canonical, because there are basically 3 levels of canonicity. First off, the works of the original creator. Second is things that were created not by the creator, but have been kind of given the leeway by the creator. And thirdly is headcanon, something that every person chooses to believe whether or not it is canon or not. Even if something is considered non-canonical by the creator, oftentimes people will consider something to be canonical just because of what the story is. And that destroys people, to be honest, because a lot of people got it into their headcanon that Rey was an Obi-Wan, was a Kenobi, I mean, before it was revealed that her parents were nobodies in the second movie. And yeah, there were many other theories that got so many people focused on one specific thing, and it just ended up not being true because reasons. And the creators just decided to go in a different route. And that is the thing that people need to understand. If an author loves the project of someone else, oftentimes they'll just consider it to be canonical. And like I said about Byakuya, Dr. Stone reboot Byakuya, this may have been considered non-canonical in 2019 when it was released, but or whenever Inagaki decided, no, this is not canonical, or this is a what if. But the fact remains that more than likely their decision changed. And they realized, you know what? Actually, I kind of want this to be canonical. And you can actually tell that there is at least a thought of perhaps maybe we should make this canonical. Yes, absolutely. As of right now, this is not considered canonical. But at this point, it might be worth it to at least consider to be a possibility, because the creators of the show are actually of the show as well as the manga are actually being really careful about this. They're kind of staying away from that whole space situation, because it feels like it's a situation where the creators are wondering, should we actually make this canonical? Should we say that, yes, there has been a robot living up on the International Space Station for years on end, and basically improving it to a point where now it is actually one of the only pieces of man-made technology that still exists at that level? And is it gonna still exist? Who knows? Because as of right now, we don't know. And the reason that I specifically bring that up is because things have been added to canonicity before. The Clone Wars. Back when the original Clone Wars series was created for Star Wars, it was considered canonical. It is no longer considered canonical because they decided that they wanted to instead focus on the new Clone Wars, the new Rebels, the new everything that has happened. And while many of us still consider it to be canonical, and basically you have to move around the different pieces to actually get it to fit into place, many of us fans still consider it to be canonical. And basically, that the entire series of the original Clone Wars takes place, most of it takes place before Ahsoka is even involved in the Clone Wars. Basically, everything before Anakin gets his ponytail cut, that is before we meet Ahsoka. And everything after it, and everything that happens after Anakin is considered a Jedi in that Clone Wars is taking place during, like, between season 6 and season 7. There's a lot to it, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but basically, there's a lot to it, and yeah, many fans still consider that to be canonical, and have gone kind of overboard on it. And yeah, and there's many other examples of this. My Hero Academia, another huge example. If you look at some of the earlier stuff for the different spin-offs for My Hero Academia, many of them were not considered to be canonical when they started. School Briefs didn't matter if it was canonical. It was just there. And I think that as things went on, Koichi Horikoshi decided, hey, you know what, let's actually say that this is canon, and then these things actually happened. And because it developed a lot of the characters a lot better than he could have at the time. And again, when Vigilantes came around, when it first started, he was like, could be canon, could not be. It's cool, it's 100% cool, but as the story continued, he decided that he wanted to work more and more with the two creators, and they created something really special, making this story to be more canonical. I mean, seriously, there is a story that is only in Vigilantes that is so important to the story of the main series that if you remove it, then honestly, so many fans are going to be pissed. And as such, that's one of the reasons why many Vigilantes fans have been demanding that there be a Vigilantes anime, because it is so canon nowadays that removing it from the source material makes no sense. And it's a bit insane to think about it, because it really has come into its own thing. And even team-up missions, that is considered to be canonically within the same universe. Everything is exactly in this universe, 100%. That is canon. The movies are canon. The fact is that things change from being non-canonical to being canonical all the time. And like I said, it's kind of a weird situation to think about. Let's return to Dr. Stone, because this is the thing that really has the most questions as of right now for me. Is Byakuya canon? The answer is yes, for a very specific reason. Throughout the entire series as of this moment, there are, in the main series, two things have happened that are really important. First off, characters mentioning a light up in the sky that didn't make sense. Could it possibly be the International Space Station? To which Senku goes, no, it couldn't be. It fell down to Earth. It probably fell down to Earth years ago. To which we never get a response again until later. This is the point that I think people need to really understand. The only person who is actually looking up into space and checking things out and actually being the one who's actually getting the telescope to be in position is that of Senku. Senku is looking through space, trying to see other things. He doesn't let the others control it. Instead, he gets it into a position where they can look at something, say Saturn, and then they look. He does not let anyone look because he knows that there is something up there that nobody else knows about. Think about it. Senku, more than likely, as of this moment, has looked up at the moon. But he's probably also been wondering, why is there that light that seems to be not quite right? Because it's not necessarily a star, it's moving. It's clearly moving. It's never in the same place, but it's not necessarily a planet. It could be, but it's always in the wrong spot, as far as he is concerned. To which he realizes, maybe the International Space Station is still up there, so, getting the telescope, he looks in that position to see it's there, but it's something that he's never seen before. And as such, he wants to understand what is going on before he freaks out anyone else. It is a very scientific thing for him to do. When you are uncertain of something, especially when you are the smartest person on the planet, you have to be extremely careful. Being a captain, you cannot tell people how scared you are, because if you do, oftentimes it will cause all of them to go into chaos mode. And the thing is that if it is the International Space Station, he knows that this is not what it's supposed to look like. And he cannot, under any circumstances, show anyone that unless he knows that they can be trusted and they are not going to reveal it to anyone else. Because if they do, it could be disastrous, because instantly everyone is going to want to know what is going on up there. Senku knows that there's no way, because he's actually figured out positioning and stuff as of this point in the manga. He knows that there's no way that the Y man, whatever his name is on that station, because, like I said, he calculated the distance that would be and knows that it's on the moon. So, obviously, he's cautious. He's waiting, making sure that everything is going to play out and that he knows if that is actually a threat or if it's something completely unnecessary to worry about. Instead, he can just let everyone, when it's revealed that it is something dangerous or it is something good, then he has those people that he can depend on to actually deal with it. And that is the important factor here. There is so many aspects to this story and to multiple stories across every universe. Determining whether or not something should be considered canon, especially when it's something this big that can change the story dramatically, the authors have to think carefully about whether or not they actually want something to be considered to be canon. Like I said, this is considered to be a what if, but it's clear that they are at least thinking about whether or not they want to be cautious and bring it in, or if they want to just ignore it. There are these little details throughout it that clearly say that there is a possibility that it exists up there, but there's also the possibility that it doesn't, and that all of these things have just been very simple things that nobody needs to worry about. But you have to figure out how you're going to write certain things into the story. The fact is that if this is considered canon, it would take an entire volume just to actually have characters understand what is going on with the International Space Station. So it is a very dangerous situation to be in. And yeah, we'll talk more about that as we continue with the story. Speaking of which, I do want to briefly bring up that I will be doing a review of the next Dr. Stone volume on the day that it comes out, along with I am hoping to get the next Vigilantes volume reviewed, as well as Slime reincarnation. Oh, yes. All of these videos are on the way, so definitely look forward to seeing how each of these videos is going to be coming out. And enjoy them, because honestly, I'm going to be looking forward to having a lot of fun with you guys as we delve into these stories and get ready for more chaos with some of our favorite characters. And the fact is that even if something is considered canon, it doesn't really matter, because every single thing is canon to how you want to be considered canon. It's your headcanon, and you have to pay attention to that first and foremost. Whether or not you believe that something is canon. And like I said, Byakuya, as of right now, it's kind of in the headcanon space. If it's canon, cool. If it's not, oh well, we're just going to have to deal with it. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait and see exactly what happens with Dr. Stone as we continue. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell. Of course, if you guys have any thoughts or theories, please leave them down in the comments below. If you are going to leave a theory, make sure to say theory review somewhere in your comment. And of course, if you guys do want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of our links down there, including our social medias, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I think we have a lot of others, but yeah, seriously, check out our social medias, our other channels, which include my personal channel and the Intrepid Books channel, and of course, the ways that you can support us financially, including the merch store, our book, and of course, the Patreon, which a big thank you to our current patron, Sheeny. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. But on!